स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. My loving pranams at the feet of the Holy Trio, my loving pranams at the feet of Sri Krishna Bhagavan, my loving pranams to revered Swatma Ramanandaji Maharaj, and my loving pranams to all the devotees and the seekers of knowledge. We are celebrating Krishna Janmashtami. Krishna is the embodiment of love. The word bhakti, the pure love, and Krishna can be used synonymously. Similarly, when we think about pure bhakti, our master comes to our mind right away. And when we study our master's life by ourselves, nature. However, if one goes deeper and understands his life through the Vedantic perspective, we can appreciate the reason for his avatar in this day and age. Our master shows us a way to increase our bhakti or devotion and to evolve our bhakti from one stage to another. This is what we'll be discussing this evening. But what do all of these mean to us? It means that our master will have answers to any and all of our doubts and questions. He will have answers in his own simple ways for us to understand and implement in our daily lives. Supposing we asked our master the questions that our children ask and faith that we are unable to answer, he would most certainly give us the answers based on the highest Vedantic truths in his own unique, oversimplified manner. So, the questions to our master, in this day and age, what would you say to the parents and children about devotion? What is bhakti? What are the different types of bhakti? And what is faith? Why don't we get what we ask for? Just like we have faith in God. But why? Why do we still have problems? And why isn't that you don't rescue us in time of need, even when we have so much bhakti for you and faith in you for all these years? First of all, we have to know as parents, whatever our master answers is always based and backed by our scriptures. We really need to understand this. So, how will our master answer some of these questions? He would say, you know what? Bhakti is of various kinds. Sri Narada describes 11 types of bhakti in Narada Bhakti Sutra. But we will take up another way of classification of bhakti to understand the evolution of bhakti. But first, let's understand what bhakti is. The reverential worship of the God, and sometimes in common parlance, including the rituals we perform, is bhakti. This is a no-brainer. We understand this very well. The reverential attitude can be viewed as an expression of bhakti, and the attitude is also called bhakti. This bhakti is of two types, sakama bhakti and nishkama bhakti. Let us first see the widely held understanding of sakama bhakti. What does a bhakta or a devotee desirous of some material results do? He offers reverential worship through various ways, and through that worship, he wants to engage this bhakti for the fulfillment of his desires. He wants to please the God, and then he pleads the God. That is, he appeals to God to fulfill his desires in the form of either getting certain desirable things or avoiding certain unwanted things. This is what the generally held belief of bhakti, which unfortunately is not the complete understanding, and it is the very first stage of bhakti. We need to revise this understanding based on the scriptures. So sakama bhakti literally means bhakti practiced with kama or desire. However, according to our scriptures, it is not just sakama bhakti, but sakama karma sahita bhakti. Sahita means along with. So sakama along with karma, that is action or work in short, is nothing but sakama bhakti. Always sakama bhakti should go with relevant and appropriate karma or action based on the karma or desire that we are looking for. So let's take an example of a student. After performing those appropriate actions, the bhakta or the devotee appeals for the karma phala. So the appeal is always for sakama karma phala. Now, this is the important thing, and very hard for some of us to understand and believe this and also accept this. And what's that? God receives our appeal and he gives the result not based on our appeal, but based on the type of karma performed, based on the effort that we put forth. Another name of God is karma phala data. Data means giver, and not appeal phala data. So sakama only. Once we understand this beyond doubt, that it is a karma, God will give the karma phalam not according to our desires and wishes, but according to our effort and what we deserve. Since the phalam is going to be dependent on the law of karma, the result may be in keeping with our expectation or may not be in keeping with our expectations. For example, again, if a student desirous of excelling in the examination but does not put the due effort of studying or even showing up for the exam and ardently prays that he or she should excel in the exam, we all understand what that outcome would be. Thus, if the Sakama Bhakta does not understand this very clearly, when the expected result may not come, often the Bhakta or the devotee gets frustrated and discouraged, especially when a few pujas, worships, ashram and temple visits fail to fulfill his desires. He begins to question the validity of the puja, validity of the japa, and even the validity of God. Ultimately, a frustrated bhakta will question the very existence of God. So, the right understanding of Sakama Bhakti is, it is a form of karma, but none of this is about right or wrong. We all start off with this. But we need to understand what true bhakti is. And according to our Swamiji here, this bhakti is still at the kindergarten stage. This is his favorite way of expressing. He usually says this. This is the kindergarten stage. And most of us start this way, and rightly so. Also, the Sakama Bhakta's mind will never rest in peace. At work, lot of anger and depression ensues. Anger towards whom? Anger towards God Himself. The scriptures are aware of the limitations of the Sakama Bhakti, and the Bhakti, he may face the problem of becoming a Nastika. So, how do we move forward from this kindergarten stage? And if this is Sakama Bhakti, then what is Nishkama Bhakti? The next stage of bhakti is Nishkama Bhakti. Nishkama Bhakti, as the name suggests, bhakti without any self-centered desire. Desireless bhakti or love for love's sake. It is the bhakti towards God simply because of the love towards Ituka Prema. And there are no desires or wants that we expect to be fulfilled. No expectations that our ardent love for God should be reciprocated by God. Whether God acknowledges or not, whether God reciprocates or not, tests us supremely. It's a very arduous test because it requires us to supersede this I, the vertical I, the ego, this ego identification that has been seeded into our brain and gets deep rooted through our experiences. But by treading on the path of Nishkama Bhakti, one can make one's own mind strong and healthy and also resistant to all emotional disturbances, either coming from outside or the disturbances coming from inside. And therefore, Nishkama Bhakti is that method by which we strengthen our mind. And Nishkama Bhakti is extremely important for all those people who want to practice Bhakti. And in fact, gradually the Sakama Bhakti should become lesser and lesser, and Nishkama Bhakti should become more and more in a person's life. And this Nishkama Bhakti purifies our mind to make us eligible for the path of Jnana. And purification of mind is extremely important, as mind and mind alone is the cause of all human bondage as well as human freedom, as said in Bhagavad Gita. So a purified mind is the key to unlock all our shackles. This conversion of Sakama Bhakti to Nishkama Bhakti is nothing but evolution of Bhakti. And until and unless we practice Nishkama Bhakti, it's impossible for us to understand, let alone experience this pure Bhakti. Pure Bhakti, or the Ahaituka Bhakti, as our master calls it, is greater than karma, greater than jnana, and greater than the yoga or the Raja Yoga. Because bhakti itself is its result, and also bhakti is both the means and the end. As it has been described by Krishna in the scriptures and also by our master, bhakti path is easier in Kali Yuga. Yes, the path of bhakti or the bhakti practices that we perform and do may be easier, as it does not involve rigorous training, surrender to the Lord. This is what we think and understand about bhakti. But without purification of mind, it is impossible to experience this true bhakti. We really need to understand. So the purification of mind is not just a pure prerequisite for the path of jnana, but also a prerequisite to experience pure love. At the highest stage, true bhakti. And the one main difference between the path of bhakti and the path of knowledge is that in the path of bhakti, whatever level or stage we are in, there is always joy on the journey. Because bhakti is both means and the end. However, on the path of jnana, the beginner's level is always tough, as a lot of doubts are raised. Until one becomes jnana nishtha, it is hard to enjoy the process, unlike in the path of bhakti. And if I have to bring a neuroscience angle into this, the reason to convert Sakama Bhakti into Nishkama Bhakti is tough, even after intellectual understanding, because of our inherent negative biases and also cognitive biases of our mind. These biases prevent us to believe that the complete conversion of Sakama to a Nishkama Bhakti is a necessity for the Bhakti to evolve. Without complete renunciation of all desires and without the knowledge of the ultimate ultimate reality and the knowledge about our own true self, it's impossible to manifest this pure bhakti. And it is next to impossible to manifest that pure bhakti through words. At least jnana can be expressed to the most extent through words, but not bhakti, in my opinion. Yes, I see the quizzical look. This is my opinion. It is so hard to express that true bhakti in words. We can only experience. It's much easier to express in words the jnana. So I'm going to end my talk with a simple message. That if we are truly interested in evolving our bhakti as we go deeper into our sadhana, then our master has given us the formula for that also, which is Atmano Mokshartam Jagadhitaya cha Shiva Jnane Jiva Seve or Krishna Jnane Jiva Seve, one and the same, no difference. So while we are working in the outside world, which includes our family too, do the work with the attitude of service, seeing Shiva or Krishna in each and every jiva. Yes, it is not easy, but I can vouch for you all that our association with Ramakrishna Math and Mission and the Sadhu Sangha will make it easier and joyful. I also will let you in on 2 secrets that I have figured it out. The first is how to increase our bhakti or devotion. And the second secret is about what is the effect of increasing our devotion or bhakti, at least in the religious people. The answer to the first one is Sadhu Sangha. How do we increase our bhakti? It is by Sadhu Sangha. Yes, Sadhu Sangha helps to increase our bhakti or devotion to the God. Because sadhus are always thinking about God. When we are with the Sadhu Sangha, even when we are not trying, I can assure you, it truly rubs it off. So, Sadhu Sangha is an easy way of increasing our devotion or bhakti towards God. And what is the effect of increasing our devotion or bhakti? The effect of increasing our bhakti, which is directly proportional to the purification of our mind, is the improvement in the quality of meditation. We think we need to increase our focusing power, our concentration, to increase the quality of meditation, right? No, as we increase our bhakti or devotion to God, you can see that for yourself, how the quality of meditation improves. These are the 2 secrets I have figured out over the period of several years after having come to close contact with Ramakrishna Math and Mission and also Sadhu Sangha. Before I end the talk, I would like to read you all a 19th century poem that I first heard more than 55 years back, which has stayed with me. It's a poem by James Henry Leigh Hunt entitled Abu Ben Adam. devout, pious, compassionate, and the leader of a tribe would best describe Abu Ben Adam. He was also kind, loving, and even in times of distress would speak cheerfully. He had a meeting with an angel who was writing down the names of those people who loved God. And this poem describes the exchange that transpired between them, between Abu Ben Adam and the angel. The poem goes like this. Abu Ben Adam, may his tribe increase. Abu Ben Adam awoke one night with a deep dream of peace and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold. Exceeding peace had made Ben Adam bold, and to the presence in the room he said, "What writest thou?" The vision raised its head, and with a look made of all sweet accord, answered, "The names of those who love the Lord." "And is mine one?" said Abu. "Nay, not so," replied the angel. Abu spoke more low, but cheerily still, and said, "I pray thee, then write me as one that loves his fellow men." The angel wrote, and it came again, and with a great wakening light, and showed the names whom love of God had blessed. And lo, Ben Adam's name led all the rest. So on this auspicious occasion of celebrating Krishna Janmashtami, I pray that our Master, who is our Guru, and when understood properly, also our God, bestow us all the right knowledge to be able to love all and serve all as we evolve by converting our Sakama Bhakti into Nishkama Bhakti. Om Namo Narayanaya.